Good afternoon, Thursday, July 3rd. I am heading to go pick up my mom up in Cambria to do the Designing the Dream Tour at the Hearst Castle. So, yeah, head in there, pick her up. The tour starts at noon. It's 11:10, so I gotta get moving. But yeah, so I'm gonna film as much as I can in there, which I believe you can. So yeah, we'll go from there. So we're here to do the 12 o'clock tour. There's a cool little free museum right here that you can go through, and they have a lot of pictures and history. But if you go out right here, there's a good view of the castle. So we're gonna board in about 5 minutes.
They worked on this project for 28 years. We will pass a large Spanish-style house built in the 1930s as the poultry ranch manager's residence. It is still used by Hearst ranch employees today. Glamorous guests traveled this same road to visit the castle in the 1920s and 30s. But imagine Mr. Hearst first as young Willie, a boy following his father along the winding bridle path that would become this road, climbing on horseback 1,600 feet, or 488 meters, to a hilltop that was often sunny when the fog shrouded the coast during the summertime. Later in life, Mr. Hearst said that the road was so steep and the way so rocky that he only managed by hanging on to the tail of gold, silver, and copper closer to the Earth's surface, allowing them to wash down the high mountain creeks of the West. Though thousands came west looking for easy riches during the gold rush, few
Everybody gets your own private tour guide. Just grab one, okay? This is the professor. I know all. I see all. Yeah, he's fun. I can't to say that. Richard is fun. Find some sunshine over here.
See the lady cleaning it?
We're talking enough money. We're not talking like $50. We're talking like $250,000 or something.
We can all pitch in.
If you want to make a music video here, Lady Gaga did she pointed for like $250,000 now.
Awesome.
So what we're looking at here is, you know, this is a world famous Neptune pool from a beautiful pool, at least in America, one of them anyway. Now, believe it or not, this was not part of the original plan. If you look at Miss Morgan's plans in 1920, all this is supposed to be a beautiful rose garden cascading down the hill from the castle where that alcove is all swirling around, a beautiful Roman temple there. Those statues in 1928 are actually atop a waterfall. Hearst doesn't like it. Miss Morgan rip it out. Okay, that's why we reinforce concrete. Jump into 36, it will take on its final classical configuration, and it will become in 1936 thematically the Roman ruins on the outskirts of town. Now, if you go to Europe today, Spain, France, Italy, Germany, England, there are Roman ruins everywhere on the outskirts of town. That's exactly what Hearst is recreating here. So it's hard to believe this iconic pool, which was not part of the plan in 1920, took 12 years to build, Went through 3 major expansions, cost $8 million of our money. And I say our money, I'm adjusting the inflation. And over here, there's a family of
When they're building this, where do you have the little towns around here?
Cambria was here.
Elijah?
Yep, Cambria
Yeah.
and the village of San Simeon at the foot of the hills. Yes, we're all here.
And were people opposed? Were people upset that the rich guy was taking over the hills? Or
Major,
did it,
major source of
They were
employment.
excited. Yeah, I was gonna
Especially
say.
during the Depression. Hugely popular. Major source
Yeah.
of employment. Major. Yeah, this is not a stop on the tour, but check it out anyway. Excuse me. Amazing view. Check it out. Now, you want to know Miss Morgan in a nutshell, okay? Stand here. What do you see? Divided straight down the middle. The right side is a perfect mirror reflection of the left side. This is called bilateral symmetry. On the hilltop, you can literally divide everything in half. All these little moments, right? This is Miss Morgan. She's a classically trained architect. What does that mean? Well, she's channeling the Greek and Roman architectural idea that beauty in architecture comes from perfect balance, symmetry, and proportion and functionality. So we have that right here. It's called bilateral symmetry. Miss Morgan is channeling the Greek and Roman architects. And she's also made it functional. So beneath all this beauty, it is a really obvious purpose. In this case, it is to enjoy that beautiful pool. So there she is. So we're heading this way. Yeah, I'll tell you a bit more about her. Yeah, she's actually,
Wow, everything's so pretty. I know.
size of these petunias. I've never seen petunias this big before. They're huge. Look at this.
I've never seen yellow ones.
Yeah. Steroids.
That's the big house. First time you've seen it?
Yeah. In the pictures.
That's right, yeah. Berkeley campus, you may know it. Anybody know it? The Greek
Yes,
Theater?
I love it there. I
It's
go there
actually
all the time.
called the William Randolph Hearst Theater because he paid for it, okay? And we believe that's where Hearst will meet Miss Morgan for the first time. She actually does a lot of work for Hearst's mother, and by the time he meets her on the Berkeley campus, he is well aware of her talents. She will really appear on the map in 1906 after the Great San Francisco earthquake. One of the buildings that was severely damaged. Yeah, remember that bilateral symmetry? Here we go. Right side, left side. If you go over here. Yeah, right side, left side. Miss Morgan, boy, she is nothing if not predictable. Now, Miss Morgan will start building here. This building is ready for Hearst in the summer of 1921. Can you believe that? This is the idea of camping in the middle of nowhere. 16 years before Highway 1 goes in. Now, in 1921, he has electricity. He has light bulbs, tungsten light bulbs. He has indoor plumbing, hot and cold running water. This is a time when most Americans can only Spain, in southern Spain, is a very famous Islamic fortress. It's called the Alhambra. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Check it out online. And part of that beautiful fort, the Islamic fortress, the Alhambra, they have something called the Lion Courtyard. It is absolutely gorgeous. This is Miss Morgan's attempt to reproduce the Lion Courtyard in the Alhambra. Yeah, it's a reasonable facsimile. Yes, we do have lions, okay, but not even close. You can notice the Islamic influences on the rounded arches of the windows and the doors. These are very, very encouraging. It's a Roman copy. There's our man up there. One more time. Here he is. You can see him behind the roof there. Miss Morgan's beautiful tiles. She'll design all these tiles and build them. Islamic tribe.
So is that the Ottoman?
Close the door, please.
Is that the Ottoman Empire?
No, the Ottoman Empire comes later.
Later? Okay.
Ottoman Empire comes after the Islamic tribes, yes. After 1492, yes. When the Ottoman Empire, the Islamic tribes basically, when empire falls, the Ottoman.
So they had shower heads that they didn't have before. Oh yeah, look at that.
Come on in, this way please, thank you very much. Where are you guys from?
My mom lives in Cambria. We just moved from Cambria to North Morro Bay.
Wow.
So
I'm in the gardens here. This motif is also above the windows over here looking to the east. Now this building is called Casa del Sol, House of the Sun. And if you look down, man, that's due west. We're looking absolutely into the western sun. The sunsets here are absolutely spectacular. And once again, Miss Morgan, per Hearst instructions, she's positioned this building, as she's done with all buildings, to take advantage of the view, because up here it's all about the view. We have, if you look at the ceiling, actually, you see these upside down, they look like jello trays or bunt trays. No, those are actually 8-point Islamic stars. The band of gold at the top of the wall, it's called the frieze. You'll see some heads. They look like Christian. We don't know if they're Christian knights or Christian saints, but they're definitely a Christian, the Christian element. Persian carpets on the walls, late 19th century. Spanish loved to use their tile floors, 14th century Persian earthenware jugs, and on and on and on. Now the ceilings are not antique. In fact, the ceilings are designed all by Miss Morgan, using Islamic influences, and installed by her master craftsman, the Vanderloos. Miss Morgan will actually make 1-to-1 scale drawings. Her drawings are huge. She'll hand those drawings off to the Vanderloos, her master plasterers. They'll make a mold, and they'll hand cast this all by hand. And a guy named Frank Humrich and his crew, they're gold leaf specialists out of Manhattan. They'll come along and paint it and add that 22 karat gold leaf. No computer-aided drawing and no AI. The absolute height of master craftsmanship, handmade homes back in the mid-1920s, absolutely fabulous, right? All hand done. In fact, the guys who left here in the mid-1930s, they couldn't find work because nobody wanted this type of house. This is probably the end of the road for handmade homes. This is really a handmade home. When these guys leave here, a lot of them are actually become drywall hangers. People want skyscrapers, glass and steel. Nobody wants this stuff. This is so last century. The poor guy. Miss Morgan has an Islamic 8-point star set into the floor here. Beautiful damask on the walls here, probably Venetian, which is the gateway to the Islamic empires, the East back in the day. Look at that, Miss Morgan ceiling, very, very Islamic in nature. All these highly stylized geometric patterns called arabesques. So this is believe it or not, this is camping. Okay, this cottage is a shared space. Very famous people actually stayed here, including who was that guy? Walt Disney and his family actually stayed here. Just after World War II. Cary Grant, famous British actor, he was up here 40 times. He stayed here too. Edwin Hubble, the American astronomer, the guy who gave us the Big Bang Theory and the eponymous space telescope, he stayed here as well. Bing Crosby, you know Bing Crosby, what's he famous for? That song we all know and love, White Christmas. He stayed here with his wife Dixie Lee, Bob Hope, you name it, Marlena Dietrich, Greta Garbo, Cary Grant, Randall Scott, very famous early cowboys, all stayed here. Now it's shared living. And Walt Disney is in that room, and Edwin Hubble's in that room, and Charlie Chaplin's in that room, and Joe Blow is in that room. You're all basically sharing this space. It's a bedroom, excuse me. And over here, if you look over here, if you wake up, you're looking at this, well, a spectacular foggy view of the Bay of San Simeon. Now, this bed, the same in our first bedroom, but the beds would actually be against this wall, okay? So we had to move them for the sake of tours, but this bed would have been here. So when you wake up, the windows are open, you're basically staying, you can stay in bed here all day. Look at this, it's just spectacular, right? Absolutely unbelievable, right? What's really cool about this late 19th century Persian carpet is, do you notice anything kind of unusual about it? It's very risque, actually.
Picking his nose.
Persians were actually very progressive Islamic people. Look at showing her feet. They're actually, so the sexes are actually joining time in oasis, and she's not wearing any headgear. Incredible, right? Now for us, yeah, but man, back in the day, that is totally risque. We'll go this way, please. And we'll go this way, thank you. Well, I'll tell you, that's a really good question. So when he starts building up here, one reason why he wants to move west from Manhattan is because, believe it or not, he is the most hated man in America. Do you know why? Because during World War I, he was actually anti-monarchy. He thought the British monarchy should just die, okay? What about all those old monarchies in Romania and Austria, Germany? Just let them all die, okay? People are going, oh my God, do you want the...
Really?
Burned his newspaper.
Yeah.
cancel subscriptions. Oh yeah, big time. Yeah. They hit him where it hurts in his pocketbook, basically, right? So we'll go this way. So the year is 1930. We just crossed the main terrace. We basically left the 1920s. That was the real go-go time up here. Construction was booming. Money is no object. 150 guys up here. Absolutely all guns. But by 1930, something will happen to basically sidetrack the dream. As I said, when Hearst inherits this land from his mother in 1990, he'll also inherit her private castle up near the Oregon border. It's near Mount Shasta, actually. The foot of Mount Shasta. It's called Wintoon.
Whoops.
Okay, Mom?
Yeah, we're going this way. There we go. So remember, it's 1930. This building is up, but it's actually empty. All this interior design work will pretty much be finished post World War II. I'll explain that as the tour evolves. Below us is actually Hearst state-of-the-art movie theater. We're actually 2 floors above the movie theater. The movie theater is actually like 2 stories high. So directly below us, accompanying freezes the banded wood at the top of the walls. Gold is gone as all this fabric damask walls, more windows, curtains, and best of all, we have central heating, okay? Also, at the cottages, they're all a shared space. You know, we're all sharing the sitting room. Yeah, not so great. That's camping. Here, 1 guest, 1 sitting room, okay? Now, as I said, 1930, we're kind of going chronologically. This place is empty. A lot of these ceilings are sitting here in boxes, waiting to be installed when Miss Morgan and her crew come back from building Hearst, a German village up north. To be honest, we're not really sure who stayed in these rooms because you know what? This is not a hotel. Guests are not signing a hotel register. We know who the people were because the limousines from the train station in San Luis Obispo, the drivers kept very accurate logs. So as far as who stayed here, unfortunately, we don't really know. So the sitting room is right through there. Go right on. Look at the size of that. It's the size of a cottage itself. It's massive.
What year is this painting?
This painting is 16th century. It's Italian. It's called the Holy Marriage of St. Catherine to Baby Jesus. Wow. Not of St. Catherine's good at marrying Jesus, actually. So this is a sitting room. Look at that, right? Whoa, this is as big as my house. Now, please remember when Hearst started building at Hearst, I said he's considered to be the world's very first meeting mogul. At that time, he's considered to be the world's greatest art collector. That's right, history #1. He's responsible back in the 20s and 30s for vying for warehousing over 25% of the art. That's 1 in 4 art objects owned warehoused by this guy, William Randolph Hearst. Now, San Simeon is just one of 6 palatial estates. He has this estate. He has a beach house down in Santa Monica, one of the original Malibu beachfront homes. He built it for Marion about 1925. It was basically party central for the Hollywood crowd in the jazz age roaring 20s, and it was huge. How big was it? Well, we have 58 bedrooms up here. It had 110. That was party central for the Hollywood crowd in the jazz age roaring 20s. He has his mother's rebuilt a German village up north by Mount Shasta. He has a real 12th century castle in Wales called St. Donuts, which he's also renovating and basically rebuilding. He also buys for his estranged wife the biggest mansion on Long Island. You know the Great Gatsby? Great Gatsby lives in a house, a Norman chateau. The writer Fitzgerald will actually base Gatsby's house on Mr. Hearst's estranged wife's mansion on Long Island, okay? So he has a palatial apartment in downtown San Francisco. He's basically renovating them all. There's something that will box, light a candle, and pray to the relic behind the glass there. So, 16th century ceiling, look at this, absolutely extraordinary. A 15th century carved stone Italian mantelpiece. Go this way.
This is a lot cleaner.
Yeah. As cluttered.
All over the hilltop. She's what we call a workaholic. Remember, she comes here. Now this is crazy. You may think for 28 years, Miss Morgan coming down from the Bay Area, she probably had a little apartment or a little pied-à-terre, someplace to crash for a couple of days. No. This is probably the craziest statistic I know on the hilltop. From 1990 to 1940, she'll work, I kid you not, 18 hours a day up in the Bay Area, wherever, Oakland, God knows, Santa Rosa. She'll actually hop the overnight Lark. The Lark is the first-class commuter train between Oakland and Los Angeles. She'll hop off around midnight in the village of San Luis Obispo. She checks into the Anderson Hotel. The next morning, Hearst will send a car to pick her up. They'll bring her to the hilltop. Hearst will say, change this, do this, change this. Art Deco bathroom.
Oh, I like it.
Gold plate fixtures, solid gold. Little incongruous, but hey, you can see the woman's bathing suit in the shower. I think it's wool on the left there. Lots of pitch. Lots of pitch. We'll go this way. Thanks. Little itchy. Yeah, they get along well, but it's very professional. Very little, it's not like it's always very, 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 very proper. They never show any emotion. They rarely do they joke. There's hardly a So remember, Venus designing the dream. The dream is still on hold, okay? The dream has gone north to rebuild his mother's castle. So the dream here on the hilltop is still on hold. It's like 1932, 33, right? Hearst is basically spending like crazy. In fact, in 1928, Hearst said to Miss Morgan, you know what, there's no reason why this cannot become a museum. You know what, most Americans cannot afford to go to Europe, so why don't I bring Europe to the people? In 1920, his lady with a ferret over there, 16th century Spanish, she's kind of evoking this Islamic tradition. She's got a turban here, and she's got this really mean-looking ferret right there. That dog doesn't look very happy either right now. So it's 1935. Come on in.
Sure, it's math.
1935, and Miriam decided to live here in 1935. That's exactly what they do, and life is pretty grand. But you know what? 2 years later, Hearst is working across the way in the big house Casa Grande, his private studio. He got a call from the banks in New York City. Mr. Hearst, your spending on artwork and real estate is basically out of control. You, sir, owe us and our money $2 billion. That's right, B with a billion, $120 million in their money. It's the height of the depression, so the banks will try to save Hearst Corporation. They'll try to sell off his artwork and his real estate, but you know what? It's a depression and nobody's buying nothing. Hey, I got a Mona Lisa here. Anybody want to buy a Mona Lisa? Sorry, no money, right? So it looks as though on the eve of World War II, that is it for William Randolph Hearst. But you know what? To add insult to injury, 2 weeks after Pearl Harbor, there are 9 Japanese submarines off the coast here. These are ocean-going subs. Each one is 350 feet long. And on the evening of December 23rd, 2 weeks after Pearl Harbor, the SS Montebello, a Union oil tanker, is sunk 5 miles off the coast here. If you go out 5 miles, 10,000 feet down, it is still on the bottom. So, 2 weeks after Pearl Harbor, guess what? Hearst is losing money, he's going bankrupt, and not only World War II has landed on his back door, right? So for World War II, this whole coast is blacked out, the dream is still on hold. He and Mary will go north and sit out the war at his rebuilt Bavarian village, and at that time, Hearst Corporation will recover. It will rise from the ashes like a proverbial phoenix. Why? Because World War II, more people want more war news, which means more newspapers, more magazines. We're sick of this. Yeah, so you want to be a tour guide, huh?
Wow.
Here we are, come on up. So when Hearst and Marion returned from the north, this Bavarian village, we do know from the historical record that Hearst and Marion actually wanted to live up here post-World War II. This was going to be Marion's suite. Look at the beautiful Islamic arch, and look at that original 16th century pine Spanish ceiling. Absolutely to die for. A very, very valuable, probably the most valuable Persian carpet on the hilltop. I have Iranian guests up here. They see this carpet and they basically kneel and start crying. I don't know why, but that, for some reason, that carpet just basically does them in. It's so beautiful and old, right? I'm not a carpet expert, so I really don't know why. Probably has a lot of knots per inch or something like that. Anyway, but the fact is, Hearst and Marion do not live up here because it's 1945. Hearst is what, 80 years old? He's got a bad heart. He cannot come up here. He and Marion will go back and live in the big cottage, the original Hearst family cottage, and he'll leave the hilltop from that cottage in May of 47 for the last time with Marion. To be honest, we're not really sure who stayed up here. You have a really good view of the south staff wing. When Hearst and Marion built the north guest wing, they also want a dedicated staff quarter, real 5-star kitchen, producing 5-star hotel meals, and staff quarters up above it. So these two wings go up around 1929. And this is Marion's bathroom. Check it out. We call it the Long John.
Oh. Wow.
Shower. Wow.
This would have been Hearst and go right on in.
Right.
This would have been Hearst and Marion's sitting room or living room. Check it out. Look at the beautiful murals on the arches up above.
Oh. It's cute. It's like a storybook.
Yeah, they're European fairy tales and maybe some opera stories, fairy tales. You want to right on in. Yeah, my mother had those toys.
Wow, look at these. Demon.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Crazy.
Here we go. Old comedy. So this would have been Hearst and Marion's living room had they been a person being well enough to live up here. What's really cool about this sitting room are the arches. The artist who did these were Miss Morgan's in-house artist, a guy named Camille Salon. He'll actually start sketching in that corner. He basically applies an underlying sketch. He'll work this way, and he'll end over here. And then when he's finished sketching in the basic parameters of the original design, he'll go back and start adding color. So he'll add color, and he adds color to right about here. Look what happens over here. What happens? The color stops right there. At that point, he's told, you know what? You no longer have a job. That's where he basically, Mr. Hearst is left. We're packing up. The work stops right there. That's where it all ends. Isn't that cool, right? Never to be finished. Yeah, wherever the color ends. Yeah, you can see it, right? Basically, yeah. So this is Hearst's bedroom. Watch your step as we descend. Thanks. Stay up here, post World War II, but once again, his heart just didn't have it. He would have slept in that bed. Behind him is the only Spanish carpet on the hilltop. It's early 16th century, probably 1510. In fact, it is wool. So look at that view. He would have had a beautiful view of his northern hills and the ocean off to the left there. Beautiful Spanish ceiling, beautiful Islam pointed arches, Persian tiles, late 19th century from the Khazar dynasty. Solid silver door here. And I love this lamp. Check out this lamp. Notice where the switch is. Right over San Simeon, the switch, right? Now, as I said, when Hearst dies, well, let's be back up here. So Hearst will leave in May of 1947, but you know what? The dream is not finished. He will leave this whole hilltop incomplete even to this day, so you know what? The dream is never finished unless he comes back and finishes it, right? Right, so Hearst and Marion will head down to Beverly Hills, where Hearst will linger for 4 years. He will die in August of 1951 at the age of 88. And when he dies, Hearst Corporation, back on top, the world's biggest private media corporation, worth $3 billion in our money. And when he dies, the girlfriend Marion gets everything, much to the chagrin of Hearst Corporation, because you know what? All the executives are basically waiting for this guy to die. The Marion are taking residence about 1928. They make movies out in Hollywood. On the weekends, they'll bring maybe 20 or 30 of their high-powered friends up here. And you know what? Tennis was the pickleball of the day. It was all the rage, especially among the Hollywood crowd. Miss Morgan will have these courts finished probably 1928. Remember, that's what, 9 years before Highway 1 goes in. I kid you not, non-skid rubberized surface under 1K, 1,000 watt Hollywood movie lights. Probably the best tennis courts in the world in the middle of nowhere. Miss Morgan will actually build the tennis courts on what was originally a warehouse. Let's check it out. Do these lights still work? What's that?
The lights.
Oh yeah. They still work. Yeah. In fact, when we have night tours, they'll actually turn on. Yeah. Yeah, they definitely work. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All the wiring's been updated, obviously for code, for safety reasons. Now, when Hearst and Morgan started building up here in February 1920, when the dream begins, I believe this is actually a worker's warehouse. I think that maybe the Hearst family stored a lot of their camping stuff in here during World War I. Okay, but Hearst will say to Miss Morgan, "I want you to transform this warehouse. I want you to put tennis courts on the roof, and down below, I want you to turn this warehouse into a Gold's gym-like facility. I want exercise room, squash ball, handball." Weight room, a shooting gallery, can you believe that? And he also wants an indoor pool so he and Marion can take a nice warm dip in the middle of winter, but all he gets is the pool because you know what? The banks are running out of patience and Hearst is running out of money. So once again, the dream unfinished here. The exterior, you can see that, it's unfinished. Probably would have had some kind of brown or white marble on the facing of it. Why not? Hey, why not? Thank you. Come on this way, thank you. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, thanks. Come on this way. So our last stop for the bus, the famous end door room pool. This morning we'll actually build it between a 27 and 32. One reason it takes so long is she's multitasking all over the hilltop. She's expanding our first out the Neptune pool 3 times. She's adding a 3rd and 4th floor to the big house for persons, yes. She's adding the 2 wings. She's literally all over the hilltop. Also, another challenge for her building was actually in the spot here. There was actually a giant granite boulder here. They couldn't use dynamite because we have local tennis players. She's actually going at it with a pick and shovel and a giant steam shovel. And by 1932, it's finally finished. When it's done in 32, it's 200,000 gallons of cold mountain spring water piped down from the San Jose Mountains, heated to a very balmy 85 degrees. Guests said, you know what, it's too hot. It's like swimming in a greenhouse. Guests actually preferred the outdoor Neptune pool. The pool is 80 feet north to south, it's 30 feet wide, it's a very deep pool, 10 feet end to end. If you look at the bottom, you can swear it's there's just an optical illusion of light bouncing off the corners. It's actually a square bottom pool. Notice the blue.
Want me to get a picture of you?
Whatever you want.
We will also pass the animal enclosure used in Mr. Hearst's time for the polar bears. They were given ice on warm days and used their pool to swim in and keep cool.
Wow.
These animal pens were modeled after you'll be surrounded by other guests in 1930s attire, enjoying the rooms. There are many ways to feel the romance and magic of this incomparable estate. Check our website for specific tour times and details.
So that was a pretty cool tour. It was called Designing the Dream, and it's a new one, and it's the last wing that Julia Morgan and Hearst built before he left the castle and died. But it's a little more kind of like, I don't know, maybe Art Deco-ish. It's not as cramped and like cluttered like some of the other rooms and other sections of the castle. But it's pretty cool. Definitely check it out. All right, thanks for watching. Gonna grab some lunch here at the Cavalier. It's got nice ocean views. Now we're getting a little lunch at the Cavalier. Some nice views here in San Simeon. So the club's pretty good with the onion rings and ranch. My mom got the clam chowder. How was the clam chowder, Mom?
Good.